Good morning, Peekskill Middle School. Mr. Tabone here. I'm going to do some ELA reading from Lesson 5 from the Omnivore's Dilemma. I'll help you guys out with some read-along if you wanted to. We're going to read pages 59 through 62. So if you have that up on your screen and you want to read along with me, awesome. If you want to just listen, that works too. Make sure you're getting the questions done right after the reading. The questions are the Google Doc found in the assignment. So Chapter 5, The Feedlot Turning Corn into Meat, City of Cows. I was speeding down a ramrod straight road in Finney County, Kansas, when the empty, dull, tan prairie suddenly turned black. The gentle rolling sea of grass became a grid of steel fences as far as the eye could see. In Kansas, that is really far. I had made it to my destination, Pokey Feeders, a feedlot and home to 37,000 head of cattle. The feedlot appeared suddenly, but the stench of the place had been rising for more than a mile. I soon learned why. At first I thought the cattle were standing or lying in a grayish mud. Then it dawned on me that it wasn't mud at all. It was manure. An endless series of cattle pens stretched to the horizon, each one home to 100 or so animals. The cattle pens, filled with animals and their waste, are built around a corn mill. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, the mill noisily turns America's river of corn into cattle feed. I'd traveled to Pokey early one January with the crazy idea of visiting a particular resident. I was looking for a young black steer with 3 white blazes on his face, the same one I'd met the previous fall on a ranch in South Dakota, 500 miles due north of here. In fact, the steer belonged to me. I purchased him as an 8-month-old calf from the Blair Ranch for $598. I was paying Pokey Feeders $1.60 a day for his room and board and all the corn he could eat. My idea was to follow my steer as he traveled through the meat-making branch to the industrial food chain. And so, I had followed him here. CAFO, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation. The old-fashioned way of raising cattle, like the old-fashioned way of growing corn, was on the small family farm. Cattle were raised in pastures eating grass and hay, the food they naturally eat. But as corn took over the family farm, cows and other animals were pushed out. Cattle are now raised in a densely packed animal city like Pokey's. These places are called CAFOs, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations. Farmers gave up raising cattle because, as strange as it might seem, it costs a farmer more to feed corn than it costs a CAFO to buy it, thanks to those government subsidies. Eating meat used to be a special occasion in most American homes. Thanks to CAFOs, meat is now so cheap that many of us eat it 3 times a day. Of course, the American taxpayers have already paid part of the cost by subsidizing corn. But there are other costs involved in raising cattle in this way, costs that shoppers don't see when they buy steak at the supermarket. On the old-fashioned farm, there really is no such thing as waste. Animal manure goes back into the field as fertilizer. But the waste from CAFOs is a huge source of toxic pollution. Tons of animal manure are produced with no good way of disposing of it. The feedlots are also breeding grounds for new and deadly bacteria. Some of these bacteria are finding their way into our food. And there's another cost to raising cattle on CAFOs, one that's even harder to see. These animals have evolved to eat grass, but in a CAFO they are forced to eat corn, at considerable cost to their health, to the health of the land, and ultimately to the health of us, their eaters. Steer number 534. I first met steer number 534 on the Blair Ranch, 5,500 acres of rolling short grass prairie a few miles outside Sturgis, South Dakota. In that part of the prairie, you can still make out ruts dug by stagecoaches and cattle drives of the 1800s. In November, when I visited, the ground was covered with a thick coat of yellow and gold grass. Sprinkled across the fields were moving black dots, Angus cows and calves grazing. Ed and Rich Blair run what is called a cow-calf operation. Their business is the first stage in the production of a hamburger. It is also the stage least changed by the modern industrial food chain. Beef cattle still get born on thousands of independently owned ranches like theirs. Steer number 534 spent his first 6 months in these pastures alongside his mother, a cow named 9534. The number means that she was the 34th cow born in 1995. His mother never met his father, an Angus by the name of Gar Precision 1680. Like all beef cattle, 534 is the product of artificial insemination. Born on March 13th, 2001, in the birthing shed across the road, 534 and his mother were turned out to pasture just as soon as the 80-pound calf could stand up. Within a few weeks, the calf began adding to the diet of his mother's milk. He chose from a salad bar of grasses: western wheatgrass, little bluestem, buffalo grass, green needlegrass. Apart from the Saturday in April when he was branded and castrated, one can imagine 534 looking back on those 6 months as the good old days. No one can really know what a cow feels, but we can say with confidence that a calf grazing on grass is doing what he is supremely well suited to do. Yet, after a few months of pokey, my steer will never have the opportunity to eat green grass again. All right, so that's the reading for Lesson 5. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments on the Google Class page, or you can email Mrs. Sora or myself. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, getting outside to go for some walks if you need some exercise, social distancing, and hopefully we will see you guys soon. All right, talk to you later.